Welcome to the 125th episode of News Dump, where we run through the hottest topics in the Lewis County news scene and discuss. I'm local man Aaron VanTuyl, joined today by Chronicle editor-in-chief Eric Schwartz and Chronicle reporter Isabel Vanderstoop. And we're joined in spirit by sponsors Summit Funding and The Roof Doctor. We're back after our long winter's nap. How is everybody?
Good.
Very rested. Like my takes are very sharp.
Yeah, I've just had some takes just sitting on the stove, just percolating.
Yeah.
For about a month now.
Safe to say the bottle of Maker's Mark from Old Man TransAlta definitely got us back in here.
Yeah, we didn't mention that.
We had a great little treat from Old Man TransAlta. That bottle of Maker's Mark did not last through the Christmas party.
No.
As it turned out.
There's also a golden ticket, a framed golden ticket that allows us one tour of the coal mine and plant.
It's going to be kind of fun.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I wonder.
And then one of us gets it afterwards. Whoever's most well behaved.
I wonder if the implication was that we take the bottle of Maker's Mark on the tour.
It could have been.
Yeah, that could have been something.
There was some coal in there too, and a nice note.
I'm not sure how we cash the ticket in, but I need to do it.
I think you just drive to the plant and park and hold it up towards the structure until Old Man TransAlta comes out. And
he security comes out and they're like, get out.
Come out with a cane.
Yeah.
And then he will do a tumble and jump up and be, ha-ha, you're here.
Yep.
But anyway.
Thank you to Old Man TransAlta.
Yeah,
it's a great gift.
It's always great to see something from Old Man TransAlta.
Other than that gift we got, that booze where somebody was obviously trying to kill us.
It poisoned me quite badly.
I don't think that person was big fans of the News Dump.
You know what? It was polite of them either way.
It was. I agree.
100th anniversary. It was great. The biggest news in Lewis County over the last 3 days. We have the first baby of 2023. This will not be a children of men situation in our fair towns.
I have to add the caveat that we didn't reach out to Morton General Hospital. There's always a chance that a baby was born before this baby, Oliver James Harris.
Yeah, we do just say the first baby at Providence, not the first baby in Lewis County. This was provided by Chris Thomas, who used to work at the paper as well.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, there also could have been, a home birth situation or something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Chris turned in a press release on this, and I was just like, I'm not rewriting this. This is gold. You just give him the byline. It was a For the Chronicle joint by Chris Thomas.
I love that.
It had like 2,000 likes. People love that baby.
People love to see that first baby.
He's a good writer, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the family rushed from PL to Centralia for the birth, and Oliver James Harris clocked in at 6 pounds, 7.1 ounces, and was 18.5 inches long. He is the second son of Seed and Eric Harris of Centralia, and brother of Levi Michael Harris, who is 21 months old. Oliver was delivered by Dr. Jennifer Scalisi of Providence Centralia Women's Center.
Both my children are Scalisi babies.
Wow.
Recommend.
Very nice.
Great. I'll keep that in mind.
For when you go to give birth.
Yes. My question, why doesn't the Best of Lewis County section include a Best Baby category?
We used to run an entirely different section, because you placed your baby in the contest, and your baby was found wanting.
It was indeed my dear sweet baby boy.
I think we're going to bring that back. Coralie had mentioned that. We do the Babies of the Year section every year. You send in your pictures, and then there's like a vote, I think, or a committee, an advisory board.
Oh, can I be on that?
Yeah, probably. I'm sure they're just begging for people to sit on that committee.
But as all advisory committees, it's just advisory, and once you send them up to Chad and Coralie,
they just make their decision.
It's going to be their niece. It's going to be their granddaughters.
Yeah. Chad looking over your recommendations and ripping them in half.
Those granddaughters, they're really cute.
Oh, on their own merit, yes.
Yeah, of course.
What do you guys make of the dad's claim that he drove from PL to Centralia in 11 minutes?
Oh, man, if your wife's giving birth, totally believe it.
11 minutes, though?
I believe it.
It takes me 11 to get from here to the launch sometimes.
That's quite fast. If he really did it, my hat's off. That's marvelous time.
I feel like this is the one situation where I will hands down allow him to make that claim and speed like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a good story. A lot of times these first babies of the year are just, there's not a whole lot of backstory. It's just this really standard birth. There was one time that I was covering a murder trial, and I pulled Baby of the Year duty and showed up, and it was the family of the murder suspect. And
I forgot about that
quite
story.
Nice. They were quite nice. They recognized me.
Did you ask any other questions?
No.
Can I get a few minutes alone with the baby? I got some questions.
It's like one of the few good things that came out of the pandemic is that we don't go in there to interview the families anymore, in my opinion, because it was just awkward.
Yeah.
Chris Thomas has it from now on.
Yeah, he did a great job.
But before we move on from this, I think we should recognize that this baby needs a roof over its head, just like everyone else.
And if you need a roof over your head, who should you call? Do you guys have any suggestions?
My suggestion is the roof doctor.
How can you call them? Can you call them at 736-0246 locally?
You sure can. They have locations in
several places.
Anybody say free estimates yet? The estimates are free.
Hell yeah, they are.
Metal roofing, roof repair, emergency roofing, roof cleaning. I saw some roofs today on my walk that made me really think of the roof doctor. It made me want to try out this estimate thing.
Just knock on their door and be like, hey, call the roof doctor. Their Chehalis location is at 1522 Bishop Road. You
know who else needs a roof over his head? Lance. First baby born in Thurston County. We also had that in the paper.
Oh, yeah.
Can't forget Lance.
That was an Olympian joint, right?
Yeah. But we always run the Thurston County baby, too.
That's nice.
I didn't see the first Cowlitz County baby. I could say...
We should have a Grays Harbor baby and a Pacific County baby and...
Aaron's over there smirking at the mention of Grays Harbor.
You could have them fight. Well, I'm sure Michael can hook you up with the Grays Harbor baby.
I'm just trying to think of places where we actually cover like significant portions of the county.
Yeah. Anyways, roof
You'd
doctor.
have to do like 9 babies.
Wahkiakum County, it's so small the first baby probably hasn't even been born yet.
Probably.
All right, next item. Toledo's giant cheese ball drops for New Year's. It's a big old ball of cheese. Correction. Toledo's giant cheese ball is, for practicality reasons, not made entirely of cheese. The ball is instead a 5-foot diameter inflatable moon-themed plastic ball wrapped in cargo netting with 100 LED lights and 100 individually wrapped pieces of Kraft and Tillamook cheeses. Make the whole thing out of cheese just like the moon, you frauds.
The kids get to pick the cheese off at the end.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome.
If it were all one thing of cheese, it would be way grosser for people to go up and like pick it up and tear, like all the kids tearing into one cheese together.
Yeah.
Don't like
gnawing
that.
at it like rats.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
cool event though, and props to Emily Fitzgerald, the reporter who went down there, because this has been going on for at least a few years. I think it's probably in her story.
This is one of the things they talk about at the Toledo big meeting every year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Toledo's their whole approach. But yeah, I don't know. Just drop a whole massive ball of cheese. You're Toledo. You can figure it out.
I think that Centralia needs to adopt the North Carolina town that Emily mentions in the story. They dropped a live possum. And then her story notes that they discontinued it because the possum got injured. So
what? Well, yeah. How high are they dropping it from?
I don't know.
I think it was in a box.
Yeah,
and
I'm sure it's safe.
What?
And then, well, I don't know.
They just cage a possum and
I don't
throw
know
it
that
off a
she
building?
went into great detail about it in the actual story, but we did talk about it because it's so insane. But she said that one day it kind of like, I think they lowered it in the box, and then one day its leg was broken, and they were like, dang it, now we like can't do this anymore.
Is it the same possum?
I don't know. She left so much mystery. It's literally like just a line.
Just a one line.
She says Idaho dropped a potato in a town in North Carolina that, until recently, lowered a live possum to mark the new year.
That's all we get.
Well, what would Centralia's like notable animal or thing be?
Yeah,
Nutria?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. A rat. A nutria?
A rat?
Yeah.
That's a nutria, right? They're
the
just
city
rats.
attorney did say everybody's got rats.
Oh, we got rats to spare.
I think nutria.
Well, sure.
We have China Creek right here.
Pull one of the gators out of China Creek and drop that.
Yeah.
Could be a coho salmon. That would be a cool thing to drop.
You could drop it back in the river.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I like
fun.
that. All right. Yeah. So send us your ideas for what live things Centralia should drop on New Year's.
Or any town.
Yeah. Next item. Lewis County PD Commissioners fire general manager. And we have an update on this as well, right?
We do.
Okay. We'll get through the intro here. So the two newest
It's
POD...
not going to be irrelevant by the time you do, but it's fine.
No, it still is. It's still important because the two newest POD commissioners walked into their office on their first day of the new year and fired Chris Roden, the general manager.
That's true.
On the motivation for his vote on Monday, new Commissioner Mike Hadler said, we're just moving on to new things. Hadler and Michael Kelly. Kelly was elected in 2020. Both voted for the firing out of the 3-man PUD commission, right? Mm-hmm. It's the two of them and Ed Rothland.
Correct.
They fired him without cause. Has the PUD followed up and provided Roden's salary yet?
No, I put in a public records request, and I have been able to obtain that information. And so Michael Kelly said that the total package was around $267,500, and that appears to be pretty close to correct based on the records that I'm sifting through. I'm not great at math, but I have that Roden signed on with the utility in 2018 for an initial salary of $200,000 plus benefits and 6 months of severance pay. And then in the beginning of 2019 and 2020 and at the end of 2020, the board passed resolutions saying Roden's performance had warranted boosts in pay. And then they extended his employment with each of those resolutions, the most recent of which extended his term to 7 years. So that means that they'll have to pay him 12 months of severance pay now. So
It's an expensive firing.
it's a very costly firing. It's like definitely more than $20,000 a month, I think. Is that the right way to say that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
And with the new manager's salary, if you want to think about it that way, they're going to be spending $500,000 on their general manager this year. If
Right.
you combine the two.
This firing was a cost-saving measure?
They're cleaning house. It's democracy, man. They got elected,
Well-
and then they.
Yeah.
While the commissioners have done it without cause, they did say in the most recent update, so they're hiring David Plotz. He's a former PUD employee. And Michael Kelly said that Plotz was conservative, and he liked that about him, and asked if Plotz's traits were what he thought Roden lacked. Kelly said yes. So presumably Michael Kelly and Mike Hadler's campaign platforms being centered around lowering rates, this move was, sort of founded around the idea that it would be cost saving, I guess. But it is going to cost a lot.
Yeah, interesting. Plotz is a longtime Lewis County resident who has spent much of his career traveling, including to Japan and the Philippines. And nothing says he's ready to cut costs on Lewis County utilities having been to the Philippines, I guess.
Let me stifle that with, I am waiting for a statement from him. He said he was going to send like a written kind of bio about his career and everything. I'm just still waiting on it, so I haven't been able to put that in the story, and I thought it'd be good to get this news out sooner, and then we could go back in and update it. So if you look at the most recent update, says like it will be updated.
Also worth mentioning, everyone I've mentioned Plotz's name to, I don't know him personally, has just sung his praises and acted as though the PUD is getting an absolute steal from someone that maybe should be in a much higher position in a private company or something like that. I have not heard one negative thing, so it seems like it's going to be a good hire, and it's just some upheaval.
Rothland, too, who voted against severance with Roden, he also sung the praises of Plotz and said that it seems like it's been a lot of changes, but that all the commissioners feel like this is a step forward that they're all excited about. So,
Yeah, I'm sure Plotz will be fine. It's, I'm sure it'll be fine. It's just an interesting move to walk into the office on your first day and tell the guy running the place that he's fired.
It's also like interesting for me anyways, because I haven't seen anything like this. Not that it's unprecedented, but like Hadler and Kelly, had they both already been elected, they wouldn't have been able to talk to each other outside of a, in session, like in an actual meeting without violating the Open Public Meetings Act. Mm-hmm. But if you get elected, I'm sure you can talk with one of the three commissioners and make all sorts of decisions, which they obviously did. And we're gonna open it up and start fresh.
This isn't tampering, not a tampering situation.
I don't think it's a tampering situation.
Probably not.
I don't think that it's totally worth reflecting in the story, but I did say to Michael Kelly today, like, did you and Mike Hadler plan to do this as soon as he got into office? And he was like, well, I'll just say that we're on the same page about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious.
Yeah. Obviously, he's not going to say yes, but like, yeah.
But then he winked and... All right. So yeah, that's what's going on at the PUD, and that will be updated with more info on David Plotz, who has been to the Philippines and Japan.
I know him, and I think he's a good guy. I like his family.
I read that as he worked in a corporation over there.
He worked.
Not that he traveled. You seem to be taking it as he's been to Japan and the Philippines.
It's just a guy that's like his resume.
It clearly says his career.
He worked for Citibank for a long time, and
owner of kimonos, David Plotz.
The reason I know him actually is because his wife is from Thailand, and we had a foreign exchange student from Thailand when I was growing up, and so his wife was like sort of a mentor to her when she came over, which is really cool.
If you're a Centralia City Light customer, none of this affects you at all.
True.
Continue about your business.
That's right. Next item, $65.3 million settlement reached for victims of alleged abuse at Centralia Kiwanis Boys Home. The former administrator and estate of the former director of the Kiwanis Vocational Home, which was reportedly fraught with abuse, negligence, and fraud between 1971 and its closure in 1994, have agreed to a $65.3 million settlement to benefit victims of abuse at the home. This is the one out on the launch, right?
Yep.
Off Saul Avenue out there?
Yep, I believe that is where it was located.
Yeah, nice to see those abused children getting something out of the deal eventually, finally, 30 years later.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way, and we've brought this up before, but the Chronicle had a pretty integral role in breaking this story, rolling it out when there was just a few victims that had come forward, and as soon as the story ran, it was like doubling every day. It felt like, and there's still more. I mean, this is Daryl Cochran, the attorney behind this, and if you are in Western Washington and you see a story about a settlement for someone who has suffered sexual abuse as a child, many times as an adult as well, it's like his specialty is going after these more often than not closed homes where all this happened in the 80s and 90s and sometimes beyond then.
Okay. Next news item, headline, though rare, owl attacks in Washington may be on the rise.
Oh, yeah. Eric and I know they are.
It's true. They dive bomb cars.
The odds of being killed by an owl are slim, but never zero. To reduce the possibility of conflict, the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife recommends making loud noises by shouting, clapping hands, or banging cans together and shouting, "Boy, I hope any owls around here mind their own damn business."
Your parents must have to do that a lot.
Every time I go over there, they're just wandering around outside, shaking their hands.
I think this story was sparked by the NPR story on the same topic, and listening to that one, it wasn't funny, but like this woman was describing how this owl started attacking her on her own property. So she started like altering what she would do, and she'd go in a different way and like give the owl space. And the owl, she thinks, started hunting her, and she like described like thinking she heard it behind her and like looking over her shoulder and then turning around and the owl's flying right at her.
Oh my gosh.
Just had it in for her. And there were plenty of trees around that property, so I don't know if it was deforestation in that case.
Wow.
Like a grudge.
That's really wild.
Yeah.
I have had multiple occasions of an owl dive bombing my car. 2 in East Lewis County in the last year and 1 in West Lewis County. Like, I don't know what it is, if they're attracted to the headlights or what, but I like straight at my car, like all 3 times I was surprised that I didn't hit them.
We could pull a New York Times like they did with the giant hornet and start calling murder owls.
Yeah, that'll fix it. I don't know if I believe your guys' stories. As somebody
swear.
who grew up with owls in the
swear.
building next door.
You were raised by owls?
Never once has this happened.
Someone who was raised by owls.
My
He's like
mother was an owl.
He's the Mowgli of owls.
We had owls everywhere. I guess they just respected me.
No, but
Well, you can turn your neck all the way around.
But I don't think that barn owls are as apt to do it. And what you have are barn owls. These have been barred owls, which are very
Barred
different
owls.
and much more aggressive.
Playwrights, is that what we're getting at?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah, that's what's going on with owls. And do you guys want to cover any of the other stuff that came up today, like the Lewis County Coroner breaks down 2022 death totals?
Yeah, sure. Take a look
Anything
at it.
exciting in there? I've got it pulled up now.
I've not read it yet, so you'll just have to tell me what's exciting.
Drug overdose deaths in Lewis County were a topic of discussion at a meeting between the Lewis County Coroner Warren McLeod and the Lewis County Board of Commissioners on Tuesday, new paragraph, capital D during the meeting.
long's this going to go? That was awful.
Okay, this is just the...
There were 950 deaths. There's been more, but some of them are awaiting toxicology reports. 950 deaths, 870, and this is for all of 2022. 870 were natural causes. 7 had an undetermined cause of death. 3 were ruled homicides. 16 were ruled suicides. 51 were accidental deaths, and 3 were pending test results to come back before the coroner can give a cause of death. 51 accidental deaths, 26 of those were drug overdoses.
For reference, I am reading it now. For reference, the county had a total of 944 in 2021, up from 874 in 2020 and 810 in 2019.
They surmise that COVID is responsible for the boost, the sustained 2-year boost from what had been rather static numbers previously.
Yeah. Okay.
More horrifying in this story is Warren talked a little about the cartel and how they're putting fentanyl into just about everything these days, including marijuana. But like just the addictive properties of it and how you really can't trust anything. His deputy coroners won't even touch medication bottles when they're on scenes. And that's an emerging threat. But more people in Lewis County still overdose from meth currently than they do from fentanyl.
Interesting.
All right. Anything else that dropped today that maybe I've missed?
Those were the two.
We had a couple of the charged in the Christmas Day substation attacks.
Oh, I saw that.
And then Derek Sanders in an Olympian story. We had our own story yesterday, but they interviewed him, and he noted that he was not allowed to participate in any admin stuff before becoming sheriff, and he hasn't spoken to John Snaza, who he defeated, since he announced his candidacy. So,
sounds a little petty.
Yeah,
a little bit. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
one way or the other, probably.
Yeah, I'd say so. Either, that's the best way to put it.
Sure.
But yeah, he's 28 years old. Is that right?
Yeah.
And Aaron was noting he likes to he'll jump in the Reddit and mix it up with people about law enforcement topics.
He's not really mixing it up.
How do you know that?
Being present. I see him like content.
Are you on like r/Thurston County?
Our Olympia.
Oh.
Yeah. You know, I like to keep a firm grasp on regional news.
Okay.
Good thing somebody around here does.
Jeez.
Yeah, Reddit is the way.
Needlessly aggressive.
I'm sure Reddit is the way to do it.
That's where I get all my news, obviously. Anything else?
No, I don't think so. I think that should do it.
All right. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Hi, this is Jasek from Summit Funding. Here's what a recent client is saying about us.
Hi, this is Chad Taylor. Have you been thinking about purchasing or refinancing your current home? The team at Summit Funding is the best in class. Looking for a conventional FHA, VA, USDA, jumbo, or even a reverse mortgage? Trust the team at Summit Funding. Corley and I did, and we couldn't be happier.
Thank you to all of our past clients. If you have any questions, give us a call at 360-330-4037.
All right, we're back, and it's time for segments, starting with Tales from the Takes page, a.k.a. the opinion section. And the first one we've got is a column from Brian Mitke on Rich Art. Richard Tracy, the regionally famous artist who has the house in Centralia with all the styrofoam art outside.
Yeah, Brian's column was fantastic. I loved it, and he always includes lots of links to previous coverage and videos. So I even watched the 2001 documentary that kind of put him on the map, which I think was just simply called Rich Art.
Yeah.
It was highly enjoyable, and I think I learned about the art house before I even moved to Centralia, because I was like at a Barnes & Noble, and it was like a book about Pacific Northwest, and it was pictured in there, and I remember wanting to drive by and take a look at it. But yeah, he was a fun guy, eccentric guy. He told he didn't tell Owen. Owen, in our reporter, in doing research, found that he once claimed that 5 days after he died, he had a big obsession with the number 5. 5 days after he died, someone's going to show up with a bulldozer and just knock over all of his art. Did not happen, but that was the story.
Yeah. Good piece by Mitke here. He really gets into it, and Mickey loves his local artists and things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when I told him about it, because we got his death notice, I was secretly hoping he would write a column, and we didn't exchange any words to that. But Friday morning, he texted, "Yes, I will have a Richard column." So I think he knew what I was talking about. He did share a story too, and he didn't put it in his column on the far outside chance it would hurt someone's feelings. I am reasonably confident it's fine to do it here, and it's lighthearted. if I get this right, Brian once asked him what his wife thought about all of his art. And because, obviously a lot of people loved it, but a lot of people also thought it was like an eyesore.
Yeah.
And I guess he had like a long pause, and then he just said, "My wife is an art critic."
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like that.
I thought it was funny.
We've also got a letter to the editor I liked quite a bit. I think you enjoyed this as well, Schwartz. The letter was titled, "In response to, quote, horrors of dairy farming." I will read the letter in full. After reading Karen Malone's letter in Tuesday's Chronicle, letters to the editor, quote, "every glass of milk," quote, "I felt compelled to respond. Malone, a Seattle resident, was telling me how drinking milk perpetuates a cycle of abuse unto dairy animals. She further states that the animal agriculture industry goes to great lengths to keep secret the horrors of dairy farming. She wrote such a heartbreaking story that I knew I must write a response of equal quality, which I have given great thought to, marshaling together all of my thoughts on this matter before I weigh in with the meditations of my mind. Lady, you're an idiot." End letter.
Yeah, normally, it's kind of a personal attack, which we don't really like to throw in the letters, but it was like, I don't know.
It's, you know what?
This lady from Seattle, I don't know why she wrote a letter to the editor to Dairy Country, and I just figured they deserved their opportunity to respond.
And Tommy Thompson of Winlock sure did.
Sure did. We had another one from Elma that was a little more well-reasoned, I guess you should say, or articulated, that was in today's paper. So
that letter was milk actually good.
the other interesting letter that you don't have on here, at least I think it's interesting, I haven't seen one of these before, is we had a gentleman from Spokane write in just in search of his birth family.
It was really wild. And he starts off with like, I'm trying to find my birth parents, but then in like the second to last graph, he's like, I have cancer. Please help me while I'm still alive. I don't know how much longer I have. It's like, dang.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah.
His name's Brody Quiggle, born May 6, 1981 at Centralia General Hospital. If you know him, 509-362-6509. And then he was adopted by George and Terry Quiggle, looks like. But interesting.
Okay.
We just don't get that kind of letter
No.
very often. People were generally very helpful, I thought, in the Facebook comments and trying to point him in the right direction, assuming he saw the post.
I hope that they like email him.
Yes,
I
that's
hope
what I was hoping
people
to.
send him, yeah. Maybe we should like screenshot it and send it back to him or something.
That's a good idea.
And then we've got a column from Bill Moeller.
Yeah, rough year, can't keep Chronicle columnist down. He basically wrote about everything bad that happened to him. Bill Moeller had a rotten year this year. He's been in the hospital lots. He got COVID-19. I think he broke his leg. Just lots. But I'm happy to report he's been back in here, and we published his Becky the Bookstore Cat series over the
Yes.
holidays.
Yep.
I thought it was a 5-parter. Turns out it was a 6-parter. Not to ruin this for anyone.
Sneaking an extra one in there.
The kitten has, or the cat has kittens at the end,
Right.
and that's like the climax of the whole story. I left out the part where the kitten gets pregnant.
The kitten gets
The
pregnant.
cat. I'm sorry. Yes.
Oh,
Apparently, there was a chapter in there that where Becky gets away, and it's
Okay.
implied she meets a Mr. Kitty.
Tomcat, if you will.
that
Tomcat.
makes sense. But I also think it worked the way that it was
I
published.
thought so too. It was good. But yeah, no, good to have Bill Stoll writing.
Yep. Good stuff from Bill. People's Champion of the Week. We've got several options here. One of those is Angie Humphrey.
Yeah, she's Angie Krause now, but we had to do some gymnastics with the headline because everyone knows her as Officer Humphrey.
Yeah,
recently
long-time
married.
Centralia police officer.
Yeah, 21 years. She's beloved. I didn't see one negative comment about her. Well, there was one negative comment, but they were shouted down quickly.
Good. That's
But she's just so helpful. I am a huge fan of Officer Humphrey from afar.
all right. And our other options are Lewis County Drug Court graduate turned gas station manager provides free meals on Christmas.
Yeah, this was a really sweet story by Owen, the owner of is it the Exxon?
Chevron.
Oh, Chevron. Yeah, right across from Fuller's. She provided meals on Thanksgiving and on Christmas for people who were coming through. And her story was one of resilience and overcoming her own trials and just how she wanted to be able to like pay it forward, I think.
She was like consistently taking accountability for her past as well, which I thought was interesting. Like the one quote I really liked, she says, "I'm a recovering addict and I've been homeless. It's my choices that got me there, but being homeless on a holiday, not being able to go to your family's houses for a warm meal, it sucks. I just wanted to be able to provide that for people." I thought her heart really came through in the whole story.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's nice to have another example of Lewis County Drug Court working as well. Her being a manager at this place where she's helping people rather than in jail on charges. It's a good thing.
And then the final nominee, Onalaska resident rescues motorists in need on Christmas Eve after ice storm. This is Jack Franks of Onalaska, 36-year-old guy.
This was also an Owen story and also a really good one of a very nice, helpful person. This guy bought a tow truck because he has a lot of vehicles himself and thought that it would be useful. And then during the ice storm, all the other towing companies were busy all across Lewis County. And so he just went and helped people and only charged them for gas. And then this one guy didn't even have money. So he was like, well, have a Merry Christmas, and then took him home. So sweet.
And if we could briefly segue, we missed the ice storm, and half the Chronicle ended up in a ditch somewhere.
Yes.
Everybody was in the ditch.
Everyone.
The Chronicle
I
Slack was
don't know why
blowing
you all
up with...
tried to drive, though. That
made
was...
it to work on my flat approach.
Yeah, but you don't live on a hill, and all the rest of us have to have at least some hill to get
Yeah, I don't
to
know
or
what
from.
Emily was thinking, not
Yeah.
with giving away where she lives, but it's a notoriously steep hill, and she was fine. Her vehicle was fine, and then Owen, our reporter, made it in from Salcombe in an ice storm, and then got stuck on his way back, and Brian Watson, prince that he is, he didn't even tell me. We were the only two people in here. Jared hadn't got in yet. He was out shooting. He just goes running out the door, and it turns out he was going to get Owen out near Onalaska, I think, somewhere in Toledo.
Yeah.
Between Toledo and 12, I think. And then he got stuck, so Chad had to go get them, Chad Taylor. So it took him quite a long time to get them both back, but he did it. So Chad has now rescued his employees from an ice storm and a flood. Have I ever told you about the flood?
I've heard, yeah. Come up a time or two on this very podcast.
Coming up on the 1-year anniversary, the legs start twitching a little this time of year, guys.
God, yeah, that's what, 4 days away, 5 days
flood
away?
legs.
Yeah.
That's crazy that was a year ago.
Yep.
Yikes. Life comes at you fast.
Anyway, so who we picking?
I like Jack Franks, the Onalaska tow truck man.
I like the gas station manager.
Man, I like Humphrey.
You know what? They're all winners.
All right, that's fine.
Those are 3 really solid ones, though. Like, usually when we do they're all winners, it's like lame, but this one I don't think is lame.
I was going to nominate Murder Owl, but we already discussed it. So
Yeah, they're all good for different reasons too. So yeah, we'll give away 3 this week to make up for the last few weeks when we didn't have heroes.
Perfect.
yeah. Sirens Banger of the Week. We've got a few nominees here too. The first one: Centralia woman accused of stealing neighbors' dogs, lying to law enforcement. Read about this. Not great.
No, not great. It's just wild. Like the guy's dogs go missing, and he's flying a drone to check his property, which a lot of property owners, farmers do these days, and sees his own dogs who are missing in his neighbor's yard, and she's just like, no. Like allegedly, nope, those are my sister's dogs or something like that. But even the dog owner even said that on several occasions she sent him like asking a question, "Did you find your dogs?" And when he would reply no, she sent like a sad emoji.
That's cruel.
I know.
What's she getting off on his pay?
I don't know. She eventually admitted that she was lying and apologized to law enforcement, but they said she had no idea where the dogs were at. And last we heard, and I think we would have heard otherwise, the dogs are still gone. And the prosecutor, according to the victim, says he was told he's never going to see his dogs again.
Oh, that sucks.
Like as if the prosecutor knows what happened to them. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, it's very, very sad. They're
That's
like
heartbreaking.
livestock dogs, 3 big old white dogs to take care of his animals.
The sad face emoji is the worst part of that for some reason.
cruel.
Like,
It's a felony though. Like,
Yeah.
Geez. I mean, what? I think the motive was that the dogs were annoying her or something. Which,
So she
that
kidnapped
being
them
the
to
case,
make them
why
her
would you
own?
put them in your yard? Like, there's so much weirdness to that story. That was another good Emily Fitzgerald story.
yeah.
But yeah.
All right, and then the other Sirens Banger is Centralia man accused of making knives out of wheelchair parts in Lewis County Jail.
Again, not something I consider positive, just something I've never heard of before. Like, if I see sirens and it's something I've never seen before, I think it goes to Sirens Banger of the Week.
Yeah,
But
that's fair.
He had allegedly had 2 shanks that he had plucked off pieces of his wheelchair. It's not in the story, but this is the same suspect in the case that got Philip Reynolds fired permanently.
Oh.
He was the alleged abuser of the woman that Philip Reynolds made light of in the hospital. Same guy.
Oh. Wow.
All right, the case that keeps on giving, I guess.
I think it's that one anyways. It could be the milkshake incident now that I'm thinking of it. The one that got all the officers fired. It was a domestic violence case of import.
That they just
I can't remember that there was. Did they end up arresting someone
I don't know.
in the milkshake one?
I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, I'd have to go back too.
You guys want some Facebook comments of the week?
Sure. Yeah.
All right, on the update or photos of the Centralia Station development, commenter just says LMAO suck at Walmart. I guess. On a lovely letter
from
from
Winco's account that made that comment.
Yeah, it was the Winco corporate.
Well, that was their alt.
On Mary Astra's lovely letter about letting go of things heading into the new year, she talked about writing a letter and addressing it and just sending all your worries off in the mail. Somebody replied, waste a post office worker's time to deal with that kind of junk mail.
She was being figurative.
Some people just...
Mary Astrid, noted Centralia veterans advocate, came by the Chronicle again today and dropped off more pastries and things. So she does that.
So sweet.
I mean, she's 4 times probably in the last year, maybe 5. She's one of the nicest people.
And
I
this
have
time
encountered.
it was for nothing.
Yeah, it was just because there was a new year.
Yeah, it was so sweet.
Very nice of her.
Yeah. You can't have any. It's for full-time employees only.
Rude. On a photo of 7 elected officials being sworn in for Lewis County, commenter says, quite the diverse collection of public servants in LC. I mean, no 2 of them are wearing the same tie. It's all 7 white guys.
Yeah, I've already said this, but I wasn't really fully getting what Diane Dorey was doing for our diversity as the assessor, as she was the only elected woman. You didn't really think about that.
Yeah. And on a very descriptive photo of
Lindsay Pollock.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Not in the photo, though.
Yeah,
you are
sure.
correct. I'm sorry.
And then on a very descriptive photo of a hop farm in Boisfort 100 years ago, somebody comments, such vague information. Where? It literally says across from the Boisfort school.
Do you guys know, the crazy story about Claber hops?
The Titanic?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in that post that I made.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, the namesake, right? He went down on the Titanic?
Yeah. Well, if I even know that, I feel like, if you're asking where in Boisfort, you probably already
Boisfort
know.
itself is very specific.
Yeah.
Just to say it was in Boisfort.
Yeah, there's so many
it
roads.
amazes me on those history photos. People don't read it. They'll just look at it, maybe get a couple lines, and then they want to ask their question. I don't
Well, have you ever
why.
noticed that with the live videos too? It's always that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this road is closed, and here's where it's closed, and this is why we're trying to get you this information. And they're like, where is this?
Too much
Where
work.
is it?
What's the score?
The other comment I liked was on the new baby, the Providence Centralia baby. One of the commenters just jumped on in all caps, false. The first baby was at Providence, Swedish. She was corrected, but not corrected, but I think the first baby in Washington was born somewhere else, like Everett or something.
False.
Okay.
The
This
first
person
baby
knew.
the first baby was Jesus or something.
The only way that's not a silly comment is if it's the mom of the real first baby and she's typing on her phone as she holds the real first baby of Washington.
She's in labor
I
tweeting
have the
about
baby.
it.
I still feel like that's an insane thing to do.
It's yeah.
What's in the next edition?
Well, Isabel tells me they're going to dump some fish somewhere.
Oh yeah, they're dumping trout in Mineral Lake. That's going to be exciting.
Oh, cool. All the children will be able to fish for them. Eventually.
Couldn't make it through the podcast without touching on YMCA, huh?
Well, while we were out, the YMCA did file a lawsuit against Lewis County in Thurston County Superior Court, which you can read about on chronline.com. And I'm sure that we will talk about again on this very podcast.
I'm sure we will.
Also coming, we have bail set for man arrested with meth, heroin, cocaine, fentanyl, and a gun, which I believe is Yahtzee in Centralia.
Yeah.
Bail was set at $25,000 for him. He was arrested on Friday. Which
Was
seems
that
like,
not in the last paper?
No, I wrote that up over the weekend, and so it just feels like it because it got mixed in with all the other
Was he
This is bail
distributing or
set.
just-
I wrote up the
Oh,
arrest.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Now I'm with you. Okay.
And then we
I
have...
just remember the headline that had all those things, and I was like, I swear I saw that. Okay, I get it.
We'll have a story of a Chehalis man he's jailed on $150,000 bail. A woman woke up after New Year's with him on top of her, like licking her face. So I haven't read that
horrific.
story yet, but Emily has filed it.
Uh-huh.
They'll probably be up on Cronline later.
And like I said, we'll have an update on David plots for the PUD, and then you can read the print version of Emily's coroner yearly update on the deaths.
All right. In closing, we're sponsored by Summit Funding and the Roof Doctor. Leave a review and rating on Apple Podcasts if you feel like it. Some people enjoy those things, others do not. Any closing words from you guys?
No, I'm glad to be back.
All right.
Likewise.